to the Zoomer. I'm Libby Znaimer. More than 137,000 Canadian seniors were hospitalized last year, mostly because of falls. As our population ages, there's a renewed focus on frailty and how we can avoid this growing health crisis. Today, we've gathered experts on aging, wellness, and frailty to find out how to avoid becoming one of those statistics. But before we dive in, let's tee up the topic.
As we age, we may start to slow down. But when everyday tasks like getting dressed or going shopping become hard to do, this could be a sign of frailty. Today, 1.5 million Canadians 65 plus live with frailty, as do their 2.5 million caregivers. Falls remain the leading cause of injury-related hospitalizations among Canadian seniors. This puts enormous strain on the health system. Canadians 65 plus account for 46%, nearly half of Canada's healthcare spending. Indeed, while no one likes to think of themselves as frail, with some forward thinking, many of the challenges that frailty brings can be managed or even avoided. Avoid frailty. A. Activity.
One of the best ways to prevent falls is functional strengthening and balance exercise. So exercises that challenge your strength and challenge your balance. And a lot of people when they think about strength training, they get a little nervous because it means they have to go to a gym and use lots of equipment. But you can think about it in terms of functional strengthening, aligning it with things you do every day. This exercise might be a good way to work on posture as well as shoulder range of motion. So let's just start, we'll look at your range of motion here. And all I want to do, no weight, I just want you to stand tall, tummy in, so imagine your belt's kind of coming up, stand tall, and just don't bend your elbows, but just bring your arms right overhead. Okay, so you can see your range of motion is pretty good, right? Some people can only get to here. And so for those people, maybe just working on range of motion is the first step, right? Standing against a wall, trying to reach nice and tall, right? Now, if you're able to do that, then you might add a bit of a challenge. And so we stand with the broom just at shoulder height here, and we just press straight overhead. And so that should come right over your head, right? And you can just go up and down. You can do it with a cane, you can do it with a broomstick, a dowel, whatever you happen to have. And if that's too easy, then you might start with a little bit of a weight. And you can press that overhead. Or you can do one of those elastic bands and press that overhead. So you can give that a try.
So like this, I'm holding it
yeah,
right?
And you're gonna just put it right in front of you right here, and then just press straight up. Yeah, exactly. So, and that, yeah, exactly.
That's all right, that's about the right weight.
Yeah, and again, you wanna stand tall. You don't wanna let it topple you over, right? That looks great. And then if you want more, so you can buy those body bars that have a little bit of weight, or this one's actually really challenging. It's got an elastic band and a bar, and you can press that straight overhead, and that's even more of a challenge. So there's lots, it's all the same movement, just different levels of difficulty, right? And you can do these sorts of things at home. You don't need a gym, but if you do go to a gym, there's an opportunity to get instruction and maybe try new challenges. So I have one more challenge for you if you want to try it out. Sure. Another thing that we often have to do is carry groceries, right?
Okay.
And sometimes that gets a bit harder as we get older. And so you could, in the gym, we call this a farmer's carry, and you would use weights and you would hold them next to your body. And so I'm gonna use the water jugs to show you as an example. So if I want to work on my posture and my abdominal muscles, I wanna, again, nice and tight through here. So
suck it up.
Bring my belt up, right? I'm gonna stand nice and tall. I'm gonna rotate my shoulders so that they're nice and tall, I'm nice and aligned, and I'm gonna hold these just slightly away from my body, and I'm gonna take small steps, work on my balance. It's really hard to do in heels. And that'll also work my abdominal muscles, okay? So do you wanna give that a try?
Sure.
And you don't have to use weights. You can use light grocery bags with a few little things in them to make it heavier, or you can do it with no weight at all. You want more of a challenge, you can use dumbbells or kettlebells.
These water jugs are pretty heavy.
Yeah. It's a lot harder than you think, especially if you have to hold it a little bit away.
Yep.
Right? And so you can start with a small distance, or even the nice thing is this is something you could practice every day. So the next time you do groceries, park at the end of your driveway and think very carefully about how you carry your groceries into the house. And that's your ab workout for the day, right? So you don't necessarily have to go to the gym, and just be purposeful about thinking about how you fit these activities into your life.
V. Vaccines.
Vaccines are really important as you get older, especially as you're frail. Your immune system doesn't work as well when you're older, and there are certain vaccines, and if you develop infectious diseases, it may have increased impact when you're frail. So the vaccines that are really important are the early influenza vaccine. If you're younger and you have the flu, you may be sick for a couple of days and you go back to normal. If you're frail and develop the flu, you may be sick for a long period of time and never actually recover your function from having that influenza.
O. Optimize medications.
Optimizing your medications means reviewing the medications that you're on to ensure that you still need those same medications, and that the medications you're on are being given at the right dose, and that there's no interactions between the medications that you're taking. So getting the most out of the medications, optimizing the chances that you're going to get benefit, and minimizing the chance that you're going to have an adverse effect.
I. Interact.
More and more attention is being paid to the effects of loneliness on health, and it affects not only the mental health of the individual, but also, surprisingly, the physical health of people. So people who describe themselves as feeling lonely, the impact on their health is actually similar to the effect of smoking 15 cigarettes a day in terms of the impact on cardiovascular health, on your heart, and overall mortality.
D. Diet and nutrition.
So we think about protein specifically when we think about frailty, and because protein is basically needed for muscles, right? And muscles are needed to keep us moving and doing the things we want to do. And often when we don't have good muscle strength and good muscle mass, it leads to us falling, leads to us having some challenges. Even breathing, quite frankly, gets harder when we don't have musculature in our abdomen. So I want to focus on protein today. I also just want to mention calcium and vitamin D are two nutrients we often also think about when we think about frailty. So you want to think about choosing high protein sources that also don't make us go overboard in calories, because if we go overboard in calories, we have to burn those calories off in some shape or form, or we tend to gain weight.
Avoid frailty. For more information on frailty and how you can avoid frailty, please visit the Canadian Frailty Network at www.cfn-nce.ca.